You may have played poker, but playing poker in Texas is a different animal. This is the Texas Poker Podcast with Tyler and Clint.
Hello, this is the Texas Poker Podcast. I'm Tyler. This is Clint.
What's up, y'all?
And we are back with episode 84.
Episode 84. Okay, so we've commented on it a couple times leading into other episodes, but the Isle of Capri pretty much got wiped out by one of the hurricanes over in Lake Charles, kind of the closest casinos to the Houston area. And it's opening back up as the Horseshoe. And I usually stay at Caesars Properties, so very excited to go there, play, get some extra points, make the Vegas trip a little bit cheaper, and really just have kind of a new place to play. I kind of like variety of going different places. Tyler, I know you don't give absolutely two shits.
Yeah, I just know you like to drive.
Yeah, I mean, you love it. So it opened Monday night. We could not make it out there Monday night, but decided to take a little road trip there Tuesday, which is probably maybe the worst road trip of my life. I mean, it was just a horrible road trip for me.
It wasn't that bad for me. Separate cars.
Yeah, you got there a lot earlier. I wake up. I mean, we both work nights. I wake up at like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, ugh. But I'm like, I haven't made like that huge fun like casino trip in a while where you're kind of like excited to go. You get the road trip, grab some drinks, some snacks on the way there, and all the excitement of going there. So I'm like, okay, I don't really feel like it, but I'm gonna muscle through it. Tyler's already over there, and go through it. Well, it's 5 o'clock in Houston, so I mean, I'm
gonna pick the busiest time I could possibly think to leave and go then.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I'm like, when I can go 5 miles, when I can start to go to Louisiana at 5 miles per hour, that's when I like to go ahead and leave. So get stuck in traffic, stop, get some Chipotle because I'm going nowhere. So make this kind of long trip, not super long, but get there, and I go and meet you and your mom over in Golden Nugget. Y'all at the Noodle Bar. It's a So go over. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I get checked into a shitty hotel.
I was about to say, why? It's funny when I asked you, why did you just get a free room, Clint?
Yeah, I was like, why didn't you get a free room at Golden Nugget? I'm like, because they don't know who the fuck I am. I mean, we do a poker podcast, man. They don't give a two craps about people who play poker. I wanted to get. I'm a diamond over in Caesar, so I was like, well, I can get a pretty cheap, either a free or cheap room at the Horseshoe. The cheapest one I was going to get is $230 a night. And then it said it was sold out for that night, actually.
Too good of a deal, yeah.
Yeah, too good of a deal. So I'm like, ugh. So I think about Golden Nugget. Then I'm like, well, you know what? Lake Charles isn't that big. I'll just find a cheap hotel and go there. And I mean, so I get settled for the $65 days in, which, I mean, very likely to get murdered in the parking lot. Because usually Days Inn at least have like the indoors where you go in, like a hotel kind of. No, this is, I mean, everybody looked like they were going to kill you out in the parking lot. And I'm walking around with enough money to go in a casino with multiple buy-ins at a poker session. So I get checked into my snuggle room over there, which, like I say, I'm probably going to die at. And then go and meet you at your mom at the Golden Nugget. So it's been a little bit of a tough start of the road trip, but I'm excited. Like, once I get to Golden Nugget, I'm psyched. Okay, gonna play some poker, go see this new poker room, and all that. So I go and meet you all over there, and then and then you're like, well, we're gonna play slots for a little while.
Well, right, because my mom gets free rooms at the Golden Nugget usually for playing slots, and if we went right to the Horseshoe, we just left the Horseshoe, we might not play at Golden Nugget when we come back. It might be too late. That was kind of the fear, right? Come back after playing poker 4 a.m. or something. Might want to just be done and not. It's odd. I feel obligated to play at the place that gives me the free room.
It's a good way to keep getting free rooms, I will say. It's gonna look. You are not gonna keep getting free rooms if you don't play at the place you get free rooms at.
Right, at least a little bit. So then I figured, well, I might as well go and just play a little bit at Golden Nugget first. We really didn't play that long before I called you, right?
Before you called me?
Yeah, when I told you I wasn't going to go.
Oh, well, I mean, at this point, well, I was already at the Horseshoe.
Right.
At that point. So let's go, like, on there. So, we're playing slots, but I hate to play slots. I mean, it just, like, I can't think of, like, and I know a lot of our listeners probably like slots. Tyler, you like slots. Shit, more people that gamble like slots than any other game, and I get that. Not me. I'm just not my thing. So, but I'm like, well, that's fine. I'll get a couple, free drinks. Follow you around. I'll put $20 and spend it a little bit, and then go around. Thing is, never got any free drinks. I'm dying of thirst because it's now been a while since I got there. So finally, we were at the deal, and I'm like, well, I do like to play craps. It's a $10 craps table. I'm like, let me go check this out. I go there. The table is completely full. Could not get in a deal. So I'm like, well, let me go play video poker for a little bit, where at least I know I'll get a drink and do that, and then come back. And it's at this point probably been a little over an hour, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm like, okay, well, it's been late enough that I need to came here to see this poker room at the Horseshoe. I mean, I have to sleep at the hotel at some point before, tomorrow, and it's probably like 11:30 or 12. So I'm like, well, I told you and your mom, I'm going to go ahead and go to the Horseshoe, and I'll just meet y'all there. So, drive all to this Horseshoe, and it's from the outside. From the outside, you can't tell a lot of difference from the Isle of Capri and Horseshoe, correct? I mean, it's like basically the same. It's just got a horseshoe on it.
Yeah, I was saying just different logo, right?
Yeah. So, but I do go in there, and I will say it is freaking nice in there. What were your thoughts when you first went in there?
I like how they brought it down to one floor. That was cool. Instead of having like the multi-floors on the gambling, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. It was very unexpected. I didn't realize the amount of remodeling. I knew it'd be a lot of remodeling, but I didn't realize that would be. So that was kind of cool.
Did you come in on the side where in the old parking garage?
Yes, I did.
How cool is it where you could see the open water like that through the glass?
That was really cool.
That was my big highlight.
I like every casino has its own feel. Like it's kind of bright in there, which I actually do like that. I don't like the kind of the dark dreary that some do have. I just thought everything was remodeled. Everything looked really nice, and I was pretty pleasantly pleased until I went to the poker room, which looks very nice. And I see it is now 11 o'clock, 11:30 maybe, close to midnight. And I see a couple people, she's like, the table's full, but there's only one table. Well, I go in, walk around for a little bit, come back, and there's 3 or 4 people cashing out. She's like, we got a seat. Well, I go there, and there's only 6 people left, and they're all talking about leaving.
Whoa, guys, slow your roll.
I'm like, I just drove 3 hours for a table, a 6-handed table that is breaking. So I was very shocked at how little action. I mean, granted, it is, to be fair, it is late on a Tuesday night, but if this is after the hype of it opening, it was a really nice poker room, I thought. Yeah, I was very shocked that there was not more action going on there, though. So I was kind of disappointed in that. It's one of those things that let's say I don't know how the poker room lasts, and I do know Golden Nugget closes theirs at 2 in, but I just kind of figured with all the hype surrounding it, there would at least be 2 or 3 tables, kind of the excitement of that. But you want to talk about the low stacked, short-handed, shittiest game that broke within 45 minutes.
God, dog.
So that was kind of my experience. I ended up playing like about an hour at the Horseshoe, and getting in my car and driving back in what was one of the worst storms of my life. Literally thought I was going to die multiple times. So that was the great road trip. On the good side, you got there earlier when people were there, so we actually got some hands from Tyler's perspective here on his Well, tell me, what did you think of the poker room in general?
So when I showed up to the poker room, they didn't have any lists up yet, right? So I asked them. I said, "Well, I'm trying to get on the list for the 1-3." So I told them.
What time did you get there?
Like 3 in the afternoon.
And there wasn't a game going?
Oh, it was packed.
Oh, it was
multiple
packed.
tables.
Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
There was probably 4 tables, I think,
Okay.
full. So I go and sit down, and she says, or no, I don't sit down. I ask them, and they say, "Well, what game do you want?" And I said, "Oh, I want." Well, I said, "Well, what games do you have?" Just by curiosity, 'cause
Right.
I don't know what game I want yet. They said, "All we have is 1-3."
Yeah, very weird to ask what game you want when there's only one game available.
Yeah. So I was like, well, it's not like that's going to be the game for me then. So after a while, I wait and I get on the list, or I get on the list. I get on the table. The first hand I play, I get dealt pocket sevens. It's like someone makes it at that game. Someone made it like 12 or something, and the whole table had to see.
Yeah.
As most of these casino games are. The flop comes, everyone calls, Queen, Queen, 7.
Okay, so you flop a boat.
Yep. But this is not that big of sorry, it was limped around. Sorry, because this next bet would not make sense.
So it's limped around. I guess you overlimp.
I think I came in on the big blind, actually, even.
Okay, and you just check it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And let's see. So then I bet 15. Get one caller.
You bet 15 on the flop.
Yep, get one caller.
Okay.
On the turn is a jack.
So before you even say what you do here, I'm assuming, I would assume you probably bet big here, because a queen is probably not folding, and nothing else is calling, right?
Yep, I bet 40.
Okay.
He calls, and I was not in the blind. I was actually in position for this. The river is a jack, so now my boat got counterfeited for anyone who has a queen or a jack. So the board is queen, queen, 7, jack, jack.
No, you just named 6 cards.
Queen, queen, 7,
7.
jack, jack, not 7, 7, jack, jack.
Oh, queen. Okay, so the flop is 7, 7, queen. You have pocket sevens. The turn is a jack.
You said it backwards, but queen, queen on the flop.
Okay.
With a 7, the turn is a jack, the river's a jack.
Okay, so there's only one queen out there, though, right?
No, it's
The turn is a jack.
the flop.
Oh, the flop is queen, queen, 7.
I'm like,
Hey, everybody! I have been working a crap load of overtime, and it's 1 a.m. Yeah, you know what? It is what it is, man.
I was like, wait a second. I was like, are you messing with me?
I mean, I wish I was.
Yeah.
Okay, so queen, queen. It's 7, queen, queen. Turn is a jack, river's a jack. So now any queen or any jack makes a bigger boat.
Yep. So,
Not great for you.
Not for the guy holding 7s. He checks it. I'm just like, well, I obviously lose. Everything I wanted to call me, now I lose. So I check, and he has a queen.
Yeah.
Queen 9 or something.
What a shitty run out for you.
Oh, yeah, it was. And that was pretty expensive for me. Let's see. I did have one hand where... Okay, well, you're going to hate this.
I usually do.
You're going to... you are going to hate this hand.
I mean, I have no
I haven't
doubt.
told you this hand. I started typing in and just put never mind.
Oh my god.
So after that hand, I get dealt 8-6 of clubs.
Okay.
I make it 20.
From what position?
Not early. Where was I? I was about late position, not like the hijack. A little bit later. I don't remember. I know that I had like 3 people after me to act.
I mean, not the
I
worst.
think.
Okay, I got you.
I instantly get raised to 60. Another guy calls the 60. Everyone else folds. It gets back to me. What do you do here?
How deep are y'all?
Well, after my losing debacle, not that deep, but probably like let's see. So I lost 45. So probably like 454. No, like 350.
I think this is a fold.
It is. So I called, and then so then the flop comes 8-6 jack.
I hate you.
So naturally I check it.
Yeah, okay, well, I agree with that.
Another guy checks it. Then the other guy bets 100.
8-6 jack. What are they? Is it a what's the board? Is it a flush draw out there?
Yes, there's a flush out there.
To me, this needs to be a raise all day.
I shipped it all in.
I do like that you did that.
The other guy folds, and then the original raiser just snap folds because he was bluffing.
Okay. I mean, this is one of those that I love how you played this after the flop, because when you raise this, his bluffs are still beating you, and they're just snap folding, and you're winning 8 high versus a hand that's beating you. And wait, I'm sorry, you have 2 pair. But there's enough draws that you're not what I was thinking is that there's enough draws that you don't always have 2 pair here.
Right.
You'll because you're going to do this with your good flush draws. You're going to do this with your good kind of combo draws. Your open-ended straight draws, maybe especially with a club in your hand. So yeah, or a backdoor flush draw.
Yeah.
So I thought I think you played this very well.
That's the spirit.
I don't love the pre-flop action, but once the pre-flop is done, I thought you played it on the flop very well.
Well, here's where this session starts to take a turn for the worsts. I get dealt Jack 10, the flop. I'm sure like everyone calls. I raised it like 15. Everyone calls. The flop is 8-9 queen monotone. Oh, sorry, not monotone. Sorry. Rainbow. My bad. Misread my thing.
8-9. Talk about
Yeah.
a mess up.
Yeah.
Monotone to rainbow.
Yeah.
Wait, and what do you have?
Jack 10 for the nuts.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I bet big. There's 2 callers. The turn is a jack. Putting a 4-liner. Anyone who has a 10 obviously has a straight with me.
Kind of it's a pretty shitty card.
But I really was like, well, I block one of them. Should I really be slowing down here that much? Is what I was thinking. I bet.
I don't think you should. I think this is still a bet. I think it's a bad card, but you're still beating a lot of 2 pairs and stuff.
I bet 50. The guy ships it on me for 86.
Well, snap call. I mean,
Yeah, the other guy folds. He has king 10 for the king high straight.
Good God. Wow, that's
And
I mean, talk about a horrible. I mean, I don't know. That is one horrible turn card.
because I literally was like, well, I mean, if you have a 10, we're chopping, hopefully, and then if not, I mean, I should be ahead, I would think. So I was thinking. He's like, no, we're not chopping. I have king 10. I was like, oh my God. So that was sad. Let's see.
What did you feel like the game was like in general there? Did you feel like it was a pretty good game to be a part of over there?
The first game was okay. It was mediocre. The table broke when combined with a different table. That game was amazing.
Okay, I was kind of curious. 'Cause, I mean, you saw more of the action over there than I did. So, and I was kind of curious of just what you thought of the action over there.
Oh man, I had a nasty hero call against some guy who was bluffing a bunch. He the board paired, and I had third pair with a pair of eights.
I mean, dude, you.
Yeah, okay. I mean, the moral of the story is
this makes zero sense the way you're about to tell this story.
I only wanted to give you the highlight of it, but I mean, I'm sure I bet 15, or this drunk guy bets like 20. Everyone calls.
Okay.
I mean, I flop one pair with a straight draw, or I flop a straight draw. He bets big.
Wait, what? You have pocket eights?
No, Jack 8.
Okay, you have Jack 8 suited?
Yeah. Sure.
I'm not certain I believe that now. Okay, but he bets 20, and how many to the flop?
Like 7.
Oh,
everyone.
Good God.
I mean,
okay.
that's the one thing at these games. Literally everyone called every bet all the time.
I definitely
Pre-flop.
agree with that.
Didn't matter if you bet 15, 20, 25. Everyone's calling.
Okay, and what was the flop?
Let's see. So it was definitely 9, 10, then like a low card, like a deuce.
Okay, so you flop open.
Flop open-ended.
Okay.
Yeah. Turn is an 8. So then I hit my 1-8, right? That really didn't improve me that much.
Did anybody bet on the flop?
Drunk guy bet. Drunk guy went through 4K in an hour. So
Okay,
drunk
he
guy
bets. You obviously just call. You don't
Just
raise.
called, yep.
Okay.
Heads up now.
Okay.
It's so weird how many people call those big bets pre-flop just to fold them on most flop bets at the casino. That's the one thing I did notice that's kind of weird.
Well, I think you should on like a lot of multi-way pots.
Let's get back to this in a minute. I'll finish this
Okay,
hand out
I
first.
gotcha.
That is an interesting thing. But so I turn a pair after calling a flop bet. He then blasts the turn.
Okay.
I'm like, well, I guess I have more. I mean, sure, I turned equity. I call.
Okay.
The river pairs the 9.
Okay, so now you kind of end up with a shitty 2 pair.
Yeah.
Jack 8. Is there an overcard to the 9?
The 10, right? 'Cause
Oh,
it was
wait,
9,
okay.
10.
It was Jack. You have Jack 8. It was 9-10 for the deal, and then you turn the 8. Okay. I'm sorry, was there... What was the flop? It was 9-10. What was the
Like
other
a
card?
deuce.
A deuce? Okay, I gotcha. Kind of weird. Was he the one who raised it pre-flop?
Yep.
So 9, it's unlikely. So, I mean, basically, he has it's very hard to play against people who are making no sense with their bets. Because he could have a 10 here. Well, I guess what it would be is what does he bet on the river versus
Over pot.
over pot?
Yeah, like pot, like almost more than a little bit over pot and a half.
Pretty dicey.
I snap called, turned my cards face up. He did not know what to do. He had Jack high.
Good call. I mean, I don't mind this hero call either. I mean, you have pretty good reasoning here. I mean, what's the 9? The 9 on the turn really helped. I assume the 9 on the river kind of helped you make this call, right?
Yes, and that he's been bluffing all his money away over and over again really helped.
Okay. Well, I mean, in that case,
Yeah.
you kind of gotta go with it at some point.
Yeah, well, it was weird because it's like he would win big hands whenever he had it, but then he would just dump off all the money. It was a great game to be in, that game. If you're at that table, you're having a great time.
I can see that.
But that is one thing I'll go back to at the casino. That was basically the last interesting hand from that session.
Okay.
But and I ended up profiting $10. There you go.
Don't get your head too big, man.
But that is one thing I do notice at the casinos versus the poker rooms. Everyone calls everything pre-flop, it seems like. Even if you raise a 20, it seems like everyone's calling all the time at the night games or afternoon games.
Yeah. I would say, like, almost all my bets for the hour I was there were called multiple ways at those, which I mean, it's fine. I mean, okay, like a lot of people are going to get frustrated, but it really shouldn't change your win rate. If you're playing good pre-flop hands, you still have the advantage, but you do have to play it. Like, this is why you're like, well, a lot of people call just to fold on the dare. Well, multi-way, once it gets more and more multi-way, the more you kind of have to play it straight up, right?
Oh, no, 100%. But what I found also interesting was that really makes it kind of difficult to play at times. These pots get so big so fast when everybody calls a big, like a $15, $20 raise pre-flop.
Oh, I mean, I had one that was really made it a hard one to play. Pocket tens, and I 3-bet to 55. Mm-hmm. And then 3 people call. I mean, not a deep stack table either. Well, I mean, it's now 210. Well, the under the gun leads out for 50. And it's a king high flop. I mean, makes it can put you in a weird spot because you probably need to defend here. But if there's 3 people in there, they all called your pre-flop bet. Now they're leading into you. I just ended up folding.
I mean, probably the right move, was it? Sounds like the right move.
I don't know. He was, like, I learned later he was betting at a lot of stuff. But that being said, I mean, early position, betting 50 into 3 people with a king high board. Even for someone who's betting into a lot of stuff, I mean, it seems like you should. I mean, it seems like you'd have some. It seems like you have a king there so often.
I mean, or at least someone would. I mean, I don't know. Like, let's say he's bluffing. Mm-hmm. Still doesn't mean that the people behind you have nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was only one folded and one was behind.
Oh, okay, me. Okay.
So, but it was I don't know. But you're right. When people call these multi-way bets and inflate the pot, like it definitely puts a lot more variance into the game that you're playing, right?
100%. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. That's basically as well put as you could put it.
No, especially like I've noticed when you get multi-ways on the 3-bet pots, it's just insane. It seems like. Yeah. That was my big problem in my last Vegas trip, and I will say, I mean, whenever it happens, I mean, because the 3-bet pots already get so big, but then when your normal 3-bet is like 50 to 60, and now you got 2 people in there, well, now you're looking at your pot being 180 after the flop. I mean, usually your SPR is so low that, I mean, you're damn near all in almost with anything.
Exactly. But this session gets way more interesting for you.
Oh, really?
I go back in the morning and play.
Okay. What time in the morning? I'm just more curious on like what action's going when there.
Oh, I can tell you exactly. 10:30 in the morning.
Were there a couple tables?
One.
Okay, better than me.
With one seat open.
Okay.
And then as soon as I sat down, 4 people on the list right behind me.
I mean, apparently, it's weird because in Texas, or Houston, like all the poker rooms kind of get started like around 7, 8 o'clock. Whereas it seems like in Louisiana, right? I mean, around 11 or 12, everything's dying down, and I mean, like the games are actually going at like the middle of the day.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting tidbit. Okay.
So here's a hand for you where I want to see what you would do. Guy makes it 16. One guy calls. Next, it's on me. I have pocket jacks. What do you do here?
Oh, I'm 3-betting this all day.
How much do you 3-bet to, approximately?
What position are you in?
I was third to act, right?
God, you're still pretty early, too.
Yeah.
Okay. So 50. I would probably make it about 65.
Nice. That's what I made it.
Okay, nice.
I then get 4-bet to 200 immediately. Everyone folds. It's back to me. What do you do here?
What was the position of the guy? Was it a small blind or big blind?
No. It was right after I made it 55 or 65.
I think I just fold here. I mean, so here I'll give you my theory on why I'm folding. Okay, so I don't think pocket tens are ever doing this. I think there's times ace king won't do this. I think aces and kings will always do this, and queens might sometimes. So when I'm thinking like ace king sometimes, queens sometimes, and aces and kings will always do this. I think I run into like. I just don't know if I can do this profitably. I do think there will be ace-king every now and then here.
I call.
It's hard to fault it. I mean, I agree with my theory, but I mean, it's not the worst. Okay.
The flop comes 9-9-6, 2 hearts and a club.
This is kind of like shitty feeling for you, right?
I check it to him. It is. He bets 200.
How much do you have?
350.
So I mean, this is now. I remember you going like over this with me, and I was like, I don't think I fold. I don't think I fold the pre-flop, but I think if you get here on the flop, you kind of have to go with it.
I ended up jamming for 350 because I'm never folding the 150 behind.
Correct, yeah.
He snap calls. Turn is a brick, river's a brick. He has ace king.
Very well played.
I was pumped.
Yeah, I don't look that the pre-flop. I think it's very close. I do, but I mean, once you get there on the flop, I mean, you're just there with it.
Well, and here's the thing: I had been 3-betting a lot because I've been getting good hands.
Right.
So this probably looked suspicious. Is what I was thinking too.
I think that comes into play a big amount.
So, and it definitely seemed like a player who, I don't want to say knew what they were doing, but definitely knew that I was 3-betting a lot compared to everyone else at the table.
I think that comes into play a lot too. I think your live reads on how you're being perceived at the table and the person doing it are probably really good in this situation.
More of that to come.
Tyler's like, I might be a genius.
Then I get ace king all in pre-flop versus pocket sixes for $125. He flops a 6. I lose $125. Here's an interesting hand for you. I have ace king under the gun. I make it 20 because I didn't want to see this with everybody.
Okay.
Only one guy calls. The flop comes ace, queen, 9. I bet 40 and he calls. The turn is a 3, changing nothing, bringing no draws, no flush draws, right?
Right.
He donks 100 into me.
This is such a strong move.
Well, and here's my thing: is like this was not the action player I just called with jacks. This is not the drunk guy who has told me the same story 3 times, right? This is a guy who's been playing almost no hands to my right and just, commented on that jack's hand when I called that pocket jacks, basically for all the money versus ace king.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, I told him, I said, normally I would just snap this all in and just be done with it. Because he put 100 off, so we had 200 behind.
Right.
And I tank forever, and I'm like, well, I told him I'm so strong here. And then I end up mucking. I told him I'm going to put a monster in the muck, I guess.
What was the pre-flop? Okay, like you bet 20, and then he just calls. So it's not a 3-bet pot.
Correct.
So now we can rule out, well, I don't know, like even tens. I mean, I think a lot of these people call, these tight people,
100%.
are not 3-betting tens. Well, I guess we can rule out queens, basically. Queens and aces. Because I think they call with ace-queen.
Yeah, I agree.
This is one that I'm not certain. I mean, we talked about this hand a little bit, And I think the EV is going to be so slim on positive versus negative versus what you do here. Because I think a lot of people are going to be like, this should be a snap call. But how often when there's a super tight player, they call your flop bet and donk into the turn, is this not a super strong hand?
No, 100%. Man, but it's not even a, call as an all in for me, basically, right? Because, I mean, I'm never folding.
Was there a flush draw?
The three brought a flush draw available, but there was
none on the flop. Though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that anybody's going with, like,
I was about to say these old, it was basically your stereotypical old man coffee. Literally had a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was thinking maybe like a super big combo draw, like Jack 10 suited with a open-ended with a straight draw. I mean, open-ended with a flush draw. But it seems like if they were going to do that, it would have been the flop. I mean, this seems like once a call and then to inflate the pot so they can bet the turn into it.
Yeah. So I fold, and I asked him if I made a bad fold. We asked, well, what'd you have? So I guess that alone, I mean, like I said, I don't know if he was telling the truth, but he said he had ace jack there.
Okay. I mean, like I was telling you, I think this is still could be a good fold. It's one of those things where we can't judge it just on this one instance. I mean, we're not, if you're calling if you're not folding some hands where you have the person beat, then you're calling off everything and you're giving just insane amounts of value. I will say this, I'm not sure if it's the correct fold, but I don't think it's a bad fold.
And the more I think about it, the more I think he might have been lying to me about that hand. I mean, he made no other moves after that whole time I was there. I don't know. Seemed like he might have just been telling me.
It's very possible.
I mean, unless I see the cards, what they say could be anything, right?
I mean, for someone who's super tight, it seems very weird that you would lead ace-jack here for a big bet.
That's what I thought, yeah.
I mean, those players are usually more timid. Like, you would call, but it just seems weird to lead into something where the only thing that was calling you would be beating you. I mean, obviously, because if you're folding ace-king there, then almost everything is being, it's either aces, tens, nines, or like a two-pair. So, I don't know. The more you... you're kind of selling me on that. I'm not sure you had ace-jack in the first place.
Yeah. And then this is joyous right after that hand. Right after that hand, I get dealt pocket sixes.
Okay.
And it's one of those ones where, my mom wanted to leave, and I was like, I'm up quite a bit now.
Uh-huh.
It's like, we could leave. If I get this text message, 2 minutes earlier, this hand never happens.
God, these shouldn't, but these tilt me so bad.
I get dealt pocket sixes immediately after. I open it up to like 20, everyone calls. The flop comes queen 6, like 3 with 2 hearts.
Okay.
I bet big, I think I bet like 55, and then I get instantly, everyone folds, goes back to like the guy on the button. He makes it like 200, and then everyone folds back to me. I go all in. He snap calls. He has a set of queens to my set of sixes.
Oh, God.
To lose a $500 pot. Or, sorry, over $1,000 pot.
Oh, man, that is god-awful. I mean, the minute he re-raises you, it's a really tough spot. Because I'm thinking not that you're not ahead, but I was like, well, when you're about to leave, you don't really want to be gambling with a flush draw, even regardless of if you're ahead or not. So it's like, well, it just seems like I'm calling this all off, and then it seems like I'm just seeing a heart every time. But oh God, what a horrid beat!
Didn't turn a river 6, if you can believe it. And you know what was weird? They had this weird promotion going where like certain full houses get paid $200. I flopped quads and got nothing.
That is super weird.
Got no money too, but thought that was kind of interesting.
I mean, speaking of that, makes me think we probably need to keep an eye open on this because, like I say, it was not getting that much action, especially at night. I'm wondering if they start throwing way more promotions out at that poker room to try to like bring up the volume.
Someone was saying that they're gonna have a big tournament coming up
That would be interesting.
because they have the room to do it and stuff. So
Okay, like I think it's something we like, kind of keeping up with the Houston poker community, kind of keep up with that to see if that's something that they use to kind of get that room going more.
So now I have the hand of the session for you. Well, yeah, definitely hand of the session.
Okay.
2 hands left, but it's the hand of the session. I get dealt pocket 8s. I make it 20. Drunk guy to my left, who's now run to my left, makes it 100. Everyone folds. His friend, though, calls the 100 back to me.
Okay.
I call.
I mean, I even from this part, I do not like this call.
Oh, it's gonna get way dicey before it gets better for you. So the flop comes queen high. What would it be? So it was queen. So that'd be 9. So 7-6.
Queen 7-6. Okay. Flush draw.
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone checks.
Not the worst flop. Oh, in there. Okay. Give me a turn.
The turn is a 10. But
So
of a
now
different suit, right? So it doesn't complete the flush draw. But the only thing that gets there is 7-8.
Okay. And
Or sorry, 8-9, 8-9.
Okay, which you are blocking.
Right, that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, what draw is completed? Like, hold on, let's try to figure this out. I check, the guy who raised me pre-flop checks. His friend, though, bets 200, I believe. And I was like, what could he have that would do this? And then I was like, well, I think he's probably making a move at this pot, is what I was thinking in the moment. Because I was like, I blocked the nuts. The flush draw is still there. Maybe. I call. The guy behind me folds. The turn is kind of a disaster turn. Or sorry, the river is kind of a disaster river to jack. So now ace king is a straight.
Yeah, an ace king would play exactly this way too.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
He basically puts me all in. I had like maybe $50 behind. So I basically sit there and think about it for a while.
What was his bet exactly?
Probably close to like 300 if I had to guess.
On the river?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because basically almost all my money. But
did you lie to me when you were telling me the first time?
No, when I was reading the notes, I just reread them. It was way bigger bet. Like I told you when I was coming up the stairs, it was a bigger bet than I told you.
Oh, you said it was a bigger bet on the turn than you told me, not the river.
No, it was a bigger bet. The
Oh,
whole thing was
you lying son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You lied to me because you knew I was going to flip a lid on this.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a very big bet. And I was like, well, this has gotten very dicey very quick. But I'm basically getting infinite to 1, as I told you.
I mean, okay, so, yeah, okay. Let us know what you did there.
I stood up to leave, tossed my chips in to call, and got ready to walk away. And he turns over ace high.
I mean, this is the most insane hand I've ever seen in my life.
Then I got to sit back down.
With a gigantic pot.
Yeah.
I mean, I just hate everything you did in this hand. I think this is was a call where you got so lucky.
Live read.
Yeah. So he ends up having ace 9, if I remember right.
Yes.
So I remember the first time you're like, yeah, a hero called pocket 8 in a 3-bet pot where it was 10 jack queen. And I was right. I was like, God damn, you're dumb. I hate you.
The other guy folded pocket 10s with a river to set.
God damn. It's a... So, I hate the pre-flop call. I mean, because what it is, it's a hand where if you don't flop a set, you are going to be in a horrid spot. Like you were. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, you made the best of that horrid spot, but it's a...
I would have missed value.
That was like I should have gone in for my other $50. I prefer playing players like this on kind of like a bigger Broadway. Well, I guess y'all are deep enough to justify this almost here.
Yeah, because everyone was deep.
Yeah,
his friend was almost as deep as him. So, and they both covered me.
So it's. I mean, if you flop a set, it's huge. Problem if you don't, it gets very dicey very quickly.
As you saw, I heard.
I
wish you were there for that. You would have liked that.
I mean, I would have lost my shit. I would have lost my shit. I do like your analysis that once it flops through, that nobody has a queen.
Once it checks through the flop, yeah.
Yeah, once it checks through the flop. I thought that was a heads up read on your part. The 10 coming in.
It was definitely not 10. It was the jack. Remember,
okay, you said it was a 10 when we were doing the podcast, but you told me it was a jack beforehand. Well, no, because you said, just on this podcast...
The 10, he would have rivered a set. Remember? The other guy folded pocket 10s.
Okay, just now you said it was a 10 on the turn.
Okay, said it backwards?
Okay, yeah. It's a... Because you said 8-9 would have made a straight. Would have been the nuts at that point.
That's right.
So it was the turn as a jack.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so the turn to jack. This is such a big bet into this pot. I do agree that a lot of times this is the guy stealing this pot, maybe. So now at this point, it becomes kind of now it's 200 to win 500. This is kind of a weird spot. But I mean, there are going to be jacks here a good number of times. I mean, it's not like a blank like a 2 or 3, right?
Definitely not.
So I mean, we are going to see king jack, ace jack, jack 10, jack 10. So and I mean and now there are some hands you are beating here like king 10 and stuff like that make a lot of sense.
Yeah, not on the river though.
Yeah. I have a hard time getting behind. I guess I can kind of see this call here, but I mean, there is a certain point on what are you putting all these players on when there's queen jack out there and you have pocket 8s with these big bets. So you call. I don't know if I can get behind it, but I can kind of see your point on on the guy not having a queen very often.
Yes, and those two guys were friends. They literally were in the same hotel. They drove up together and stuff. So I figured once he made that big bet and I called it, I knew the guy behind me was folding.
Okay. Once you told me that, I could get behind that.
Yeah. And then I also thought once his friend checks, he then knows his friend has nothing. And that's why I knew he was making a move for the pot. Because his other friend was drunk betting everything.
Yeah.
You had to be there.
And then, yeah, sure. Okay, so the river's a 10.
Yes.
And now everything that you possibly thought that you were ahead of, could have been ahead of on the turn, is now fucking there.
Yes.
I can't name one hand in the world that you... I mean, Ace 9 is the most random hand for this guy to have that you are beating.
Well, but the turn did bring in a flush draw, like I said.
Okay, I mean...
So he could have been betting that, like a backdoor flush draw.
With what cards?
That's where you get hung up a little bit. But, well, they were ace 9. But...
Tyler's like, ace 9? Exactly what I was targeting.
Yeah. Yeah, and just I don't know how he made the river bet. I figured he was bluffing and called.
I mean, I don't know, man. This is I just don't get how in the world. But I won't say I like the call in the long run, but I will say good call in that exact moment, in that exact situation. If you had been wrong, I would have torched you so bad. You were right this time, so you get away with it with a big pot.
Yeah, there you go. And then here's the final hand to note. I have my chips in the rack. I tell him, you might as well give me another one if I hear playing out of the rack. It's good luck. I get dealt queen 4 suited. Couldn't be luckier than that. I flop a backdoor straight draw with the 4, but I flop a queen high flush draw. And one of these, not the guy I folded ace king to, but his friend over there, actually starts betting pretty significant amount of money. I'm like, oh, okay, you know.
Okay.
He bets like $50. Sorry, he bets like 35 first, and then I call on the flop, and it's heads up. Turn is the king of hearts, giving me the second nuts. He doesn't slow down, keeps betting. Bets pretty big too. This was like probably like 65, 70. I call. The river's blank. Doesn't pair the board. That's all that matters, not the ace of hearts.
Right.
He checks it to me now. And I'm like, do you go for value here whenever one of these old man coffees is betting all of a sudden gigantically into you?
Yes, 100%. This is well, I mean, you have second nuts with the flush, right?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, you 100% go for value here.
I overbet. Like I guess I want an overbet. I bet 200, significant bet.
Yeah.
And he calls, and I'm good. I'm so happy.
Yeah, 100%. It's a, I mean, especially when he checks the river to you, because I mean, you're gonna get value from all the other all the flushes, probably 2 pair sets. I mean, just so much in the world. I mean, and you know what? If you somehow get re-raised there, then at that point you have to just deal with what happens and go from there.
Yeah. So, yeah, and ended up booking a $190 loss.
For how bad you, I was pretty impressed with how well you played. Whereas it seemed like, well, I didn't love the pocket eights. But that being said, I thought you played very well, and what if you did not play well would have been much bigger losing sessions.
No, 100%. I mean, I forgot to even tell you about that first hand where I had pocket aces and river to set to his river straight, but we've already run past 50 minutes, so.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is basically the moral story. He flopped open-ended. My ace gave him a straight.
Just an actual river card, right?
Yeah,
there.
100%. So, yeah.
Well,
I mean, hopefully next time you go to the Horseshoe, you can play a little.
I mean, hopefully so. I mean, you want to talk about these I mean, because I am someone, I like to travel. I like to see different poker rooms and stuff like that. I was so excited. And it could not have been. And I'm not saying anything about the Horseshoe. The room is very nice. I hope to see it succeed. It's a very nice room. It's not like I don't like the Golden Nuggets room. I won't lie. It's not my favorite. Like this one room, I really do like. And I hope that it does well, and I hope it succeeds. But God Almighty, it was just a shit experience for me.
On an off poker note, did you go see the Golden Nuggets poker room when you were here?
I told you I was going to go to the Horseshoe, and then I was like, while I'm here at the Golden Nugget, I'm not coming back. I should at least go and look. The one thing I did think was cool is the sports book next to it.
That's what I was
looks super cool.
That's what I was going to bring up if you got to see that.
That looked pretty awesome.
I did feel like they needed to label the poker room a little bit better if I didn't know it was there in the DraftKings Sportsbook, but
yeah,
the DraftKings Sportsbook though, super cool.
I was super impressed by that. I thought that looked really nice. I just don't like. I don't like that their poker room. And now I made the suggestion at the table, and these people just hated me. I was like, why don't they just knock out part of the wall there instead of being in this little fucking room at the Golden Nugget? Where, I mean, you could now look in the sports book, see what's going on, see the TVs and all that. It's like, it'd be too loud and all that. I don't know. Wear headphones. I mean, it is It looks like the shittiest experience when I walk into one room with a couple poker tables in it, and you are just boxed off from the rest of the casino.
Yeah. I don't know. I do think that they could do it better, but I don't mind it if I win. Since I lost, I hated it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of... There are a lot of people who rather be separate. I'm just not one of them. Like, poker, when you are card dead, can be boring enough. I don't need you to put it in a room where there's nothing to see or anything to do.
Right. They're like, have you ever been to prison? Just walls? That's what you get, Clint.
Yeah.
It's just walls. You're like, do I get TV with volume? They're like, oh, no. No. You don't get TV with volume. Not at all.
That's exactly how it feels to me.
So, I guess on that note, this concludes Tech Poker Podcast. We'll talk to you next week.
That was the Texas Poker Podcast. Go ahead and rack up, add time, and we'll see you next week.